Hi everyone, welcome to the Coach Dave Delta World Sprint Championship brought to you by GRDC. This is the first round. We've had 2 practice rounds so far, I believe. So we're going to go through the stewarding for the first lap instance primarily, and then we'll look at a few extra reports that we've had in, and maybe have a few general comments about the overall driving, which was pretty good, I think, considering how many cars are on track. Anyway, we'll go to the first instant now. Okay, so the first instance we've got is between Adam Kasplar and Gianluca Belushi. So just run it at normal speed from...
Yeah, 219 is the stamp.
Okay, so there's the main contact we're looking at. There's a bit of after contact with the car on the inside. Let's just go back and look at that again. I'll look at it from the car behind first. I think Gianluca definitely hits car 83. I don't think that's in doubt. I just want to see what happens with the car behind. You might get a better view. Okay, so Gianluca's locked up in the first corner and driven into Adam. I'm trying to work out whether there's a secondary incident here with... is it Nathan? No, it's David, isn't it? David Petit.
Yeah.
So he's... Yeah, I sort of feel that Gianluca was a little bit out of control from locking up, and then slightly touched David there.
Yeah.
There's barely any contact.
Yeah.
I think, given that it sort of depends. Did he ever back off? I'm pretty much guess he's lost the corner by that point.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think if I was Gianluca, I'd have probably have given the place back after that collision on the back. But anyway, so let's go back to the initial. I don't think we're penalised that one.
No.
But Gianluca is at fault for hitting Adam on the first corner. What actually happened to Adam? Did he spin? Let's look at it because we've not looked at it
I think he managed to save it. Looking in the mirror of the thing, he did. He caught it really
well held.
Yeah,
and
he did a really good job.
Good safe rejoin as well. So he did everything right there. Okay, so that is going to be a avoidable contact instant penalty for Gianluca, and from this race onwards we've introduced a license penalty point system, and the main reason of it is to try and promote consistent driving from race to race. So if people will build up points if they're consistently getting penalties, they will build up license points, and then license points can lead to things like qualifying bans or race bans, or completely being removed from the championship. And each instant where you're at fault, found to be at fault, will be 1 penalty point, and on the first lap there's an extra penalty points at a license point. So in this instance, Gianluca will receive the time penalty plus 2 penalty points, 1 for the first lap. 1 for the incident itself and 1 for the first lap.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're going to the next one then.
Oh.
Okay. So the next incident we've got was between Alistair Ramsey and I apologise if I get your name wrong, but I think it's Reda O'Hilal. So let's have a look at this one. I'll just wind it back a little bit so we get a feel for what was happening going into the first corner. Was it that tap there?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, and I think the Porsche spun.
Let's look at it from the Porsche's perspective. I think they've all done well, plenty of room given. Yeah, it's a tricky one, that.
Yeah,
Y-
because
I sort of
I mean,
feel there was barely a touch, and
yeah,
there's definitely room there. You could
yeah,
argue that Alistair was made. Let's try and see what Alistair's line through here is like. Yeah, I mean, he's left room, Alistair. I don't. He has maybe turned in a little bit, but I don't.
yeah. It's
It's,
kind of a little bit on both. The Porsche could have stayed a little tighter. It pushed wide a tiny bit, and Alistair turned in at the same time he did that. So that I feel bad for the Porsche. I think it's really for me. It's a bit hard to call one person to blame there. I don't know what you think.
yeah, I'm. It's a shame that if the Porsche hadn't have spun, I
Yeah,
think I would have said it's just a racing incident.
yeah,
Um, but I think it's a little bit harsh for Alistair to get a time penalty from that
yeah,
because he's not. You could argue it's really hard to tell with this game whether the Porsche went into the Aston or the Aston
yeah.
cut across the Porsche. So I'm tempted in the. Okay, I've made my decision. I think I'm going to put it down to a racing incident. I think
Yeah. But when
if
the
Red,
Porsche
yeah,
spins,
yeah,
if you watch, there's a brake input, and I think that brake input causes makes the contact spin the car
yeah,
because it's the
yeah. I
Porsche.
saw the brake come on there.
Yeah,
I
the
think
timing
if
of the brake.
yeah, I mean, Redder has the opportunity to appeal it if he can provide some more video evidence. I know it's not the best of games to do that with the replay system at the moment, but
Yeah,
I think for me, no further action is
yeah, yeah.
my decision.
Just unfortunate.
Yeah. All right, we move on to the next one then. Okay, so the next incident we've got is Alasdair again and Jordan 40 in the BMW. A bit further around the first lap. Yeah, okay. Really hard to judge this one
Yeah,
because
I had a quick look at it, and
Alasdair's like he's really hammered the brakes on. Well, not. I'm looking at the brake inputs here. So he is braking and he's yeah. Did the BMW cut across him? It's really difficult to tell, isn't it?
that was Alistair's front wheel alongside his
Well,
back
we'll have a
wheel.
look from above in a minute. So you'll have to
Yeah.
tell me where would you normally brake on this second right-hander? Because you'd normally be out wide, wouldn't you? I
No, holding a tight line
you
here and then let it go wide. So the BM is doing the regular racing line. That's how I take that corner.
yeah. I
Oh
for
yeah,
me
Alice. Yeah,
yeah. For me I think don't think Alice has got alongside enough
no, he hasn't.
because he slows down again then, so his back
Yeah,
axle isn't quite alongside. I mean I can
yeah,
try and it's you, isn't it?
yeah,
So
yeah. Just not quite alongside when
well,
the Beamer is
actually,
turning.
yeah, from where I've stopped it there, he sort of is. And I can't play it in slow motion
No,
and keep that
no.
screen on, unfortunately.
Mm,
I feel bad for Alasdair because he's trying to. At that point, we've all been there. We're all trying to
yeah,
we're all trying to back out, and we don't have the time to do it. So,
yeah.
what was the actual? Did it? They both keep on track, keep
Uh,
going.
no, the Beamer spun.
Yeah, I think the car behind has to take responsibility for that.
Yeah, if he was
Um,
alongside, it could have been the other way, but the Beamer is already in the braking zone and turning for the apex before he gets alongside. So
yeah,
yeah, I think that is a bit on the Aston.
yeah, I do as well. Okay, so that is going to be a 10-second penalty for the order of incident, and it's doubled because it's the first lap, plus the license point, plus an extra license point for the first lap. So, okay,
Yeah,
we'll move on to the next one. Right, so the next incident we've got to look at is between Panos and I've forgotten the name, Evangelos in front in the Mustang. So watch it from Panos's point of view first. Right. So my initial thought from watching this, we'll watch it from the car behind, sometimes get a better view of what's happening. Go
yeah,
back a little bit further. Okay, so Panos has decided to try and make a move here,
yeah,
and sliding. We go back. So from this point, he's not really hit the apex. That's the first thing, and he's now sliding out towards the outside, which is straight into the path of the Mustang.
yeah,
So that contact is avoidable, and
yeah.
it is on Panos for not.
Good awareness from the Mustang because he went as wide as possible to
Yeah,
try and avoid. And yeah, good driving from the Mustang there.
yeah. We just zoom back just to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's left room on the inside as much as he possibly could.
yeah. I mean, he's even willing to go a little off track to avoid, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So because it's a first lap incident, only just the first lap because we're near the finish. It's going to
yeah,
be a 10-second penalty, which is doubled because it's the first lap, plus one license point, which is also you get an extra license point because it's a first lap incident.
yeah,
So the next one is sort of follows on from this, I think.
yeah.
Um,
There's two incidents involving two different cars
so let's
with Panos.
let's have a look at the rejoin in real time. So we've got did well to hold it.
Yeah,
So the rejoin's fine at this point, but you really need to be staying to the left at that point because you're not up to
yeah,
racing speed.
yeah.
Um, like it's easier to watch in full time. Is there anyone right behind you can see it from? I don't know if that's too far on.
Yeah, I think that's a bit too far. Oh, hang on. It's hard to tell which one we're on board with at the moment. Right, okay, this might give us a view of it, or does this Porsche get past?
The collision. The second collision is happening behind. Let's
Yeah,
watch it from the BMW's point of view.
yeah,
So you can see how far behind the BMW is here. So there's for speed he's catching up here. You're definitely not up to racing speed, and you just collide with that Ferrari. The Ferrari's sort of stuck in the middle
yeah,
because I think the Ferrari had to slow down because the other Porsche slowed down to avoid the spin that was happening in front of him.
yeah,
Ferrari's in the middle there, lifts off slightly. Yeah. For me, I mean, the thing is that looks like an innocuous collision, but it can cause things like that can cause damage. I think it was hard enough that it probably did cause a little bit of damage.
yeah,
And I can't see a lot of mitigation in this case because your rejoin, this is panel, you've got all the track, all you should be sticking to the inside here while you get up to speed, but you're
Yeah,
sort of drifting out into the racing line, which I
yeah,
don't think is fair on the other cars that have already had to try and predict what was going to happen. So
yeah,
I think that's going to be the same penalty as the last one. I don't think I
yeah,
can put it down to a warning, really. I think it's just all this space over here.
yeah,
You should be over here on a rejoin off the racing line. So that's going to be a 10-second penalty doubled to 20 plus the license points, which is
yeah,
1 plus 1. Okay, we're going to the next one. Okay, so the next incident we've got is, it was reported by Gary. Basically, it was reported against Remy Borgso, car 35, I think. Um, After entering the racing line at turn 1, he came across towards at turn 2 towards the apex, and you were there. So let's have a look at it from Gary's. We're not running on Gary at the moment. Where is where's Gary? There you go. Okay, so let's watch it. So there's the hypercar on the inside there. Gary's got a little bit squirmy there. Okay, so we're not looking at the bit afterwards because it wasn't reported. It's the initial contact we're looking at
yeah.
between Gary and Remy.
Mr. Borg. So
So for me, it looks like Gary's hit Remy, not the other way around.
yeah,
That's my initial
yeah.
thought.
He's gone wide. He's got some understeer there, and it's just
So
pushed wide.
yeah, so they've both gone into the corner. Gary's on the better line here. Gary starts turning in, sees the hypercar there, corrects his line accordingly. All that's good. So at this point, Gary's now not on the ideal line because he's got to this point a bit early. He's got his
Yeah,
rear right wheel on the sort of grassy bit, and that there's that little wiggle just there where it puts him left. So now he's got to turn hard right. I just think he drifts wide.
yeah,
Let's look at it from the hypercar line. See what it looks like from here. So I mean, the hypercar's left you all the room in the world there, really.
yeah. I mean, the ideal thing here would have been go back a little bit more, keep going, uh, and go on board with Gary a sec.
It does this. I've lost Gary because we're by the pits. It
Oh
keeps
yeah,
switching to people in the pits.
yeah.
Do you want it slow or fast?
If you go slow from now, at this point, I think Gary would have been better to just lift instead of trying to go around the hypercar, because that hypercar would have been gone as soon as they reached this apex.
Yeah. Let's
So
look at
that's
it
a
from the
shame.
other Porsche's point of view again,
Yeah,
because you get a better view from behind.
yeah,
So there's a correction from Gary. Now Gary's heading towards the apex a little bit early.
yeah,
So that wiggle happens there, so Harry, at that point Gary was aiming over here, so he's
yeah,
now trying to turn us hard right, hard right. There you go. I think that's pretty
Yeah,
clear cut.
yeah.
So unfortunately, Gary, that's going to be a 10-second penalty and 1 licence point. Okay, we move on to the next one.
Yep.
Okay, so the next incident that was reported was reported by Ramsey for Alasdair,
Alistair Ramsey. Yeah.
and it's the hypercar which we're looking at the moment, which is Mark. So going into the first corner, near the, so Alasdair's stuck to his line, left him room. I think we watch the whole incident. So the hypercar has to brake, sort of mucks up the corner a little bit, and then just pins it, and expecting to be able to take the apex
Yeah.
when there's in fact a car already turning in for that apex.
Yeah.
A car, Alasdair, that's already let him pass down the straight as well. So we'll try and look at it from... Well, we'll watch it again first. So hypercar
It goes
brake
too deep.
locks up, goes too deep, stays on the inside and just pins it. And
Yeah.
really, my initial thought is Alasdair was entitled to take that racing line,
Yeah,
and it's up to the
absolutely.
hypercar to navigate around it.
Yeah.
We'll watch it back from Alasdair's point of view, but we're not going to see much because it's... Well, we'll see what we see. Let's have a look. So Alasdair's on the racing line, staying on the racing line, still on the racing line, and he gets hit by the hypercar. So I think it's pretty clear cut.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the hypercar's responsibility to get past safely.
Yeah.
It's not Alasdair's responsibility to suddenly give you the
Disappear.
apex that late in the corner.
Yeah.
So that is going to be a penalty for Mark. So that... What? How much time did Alasdair lose? He had a good safe rejoin, so... Yeah, I guess that's probably particularly frustrating because he'd already let the hypercar past.
Yeah, I mean, I was right behind Alistair when this happened, so I was looking forward to having a battle with him, and then all of a sudden, this happened. Felt really bad for him.
Yeah. I don't think it warrants more than a 10-second penalty.
No,
Um,
definitely in
I
the
don't think
future.
it was deliberate. I think
No.
the only mitigation it's still going to get a penalty is the fact that Alistair's on quite a wide... Well, you would be wide. That's the racing line, but it's quite wide at that point.
Yeah.
And look, it just comes from nowhere. Whack.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Definitely be careful in the future overtaking the GT3s.
Yeah. All right. Move on to the next one. Okay, so the next incident we've got was reported by... I've lost my sheet.
Ian Nesbitt.
By Ian,
Nis
yeah.
Nisbet. Yeah.
And it was Alasdair just behind him in the Aston. So watch it from Alasdair's point of view first. So there's some good close racing going on here. And I think the incident's just coming up here. So there is half a gap there, but
Yeah, just not a complete car's
not a
worth.
complete car gap.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my initial thought was quite clear cut that that's a push to pass, but I'll have a look at it from Ian's point of view. Yeah, I mean, it looks even worse from here because you can see the contacts made there. Contacts continue. You're now pushing him out the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's a clear-cut penalty for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so that's going to be 10 seconds for Alasdair plus a license point.
Borgson and
Okay,
40.
so yeah, so the next one is Borgson and Frederico. Okay, so I'm going
Pekoski,
to
yeah.
watch it from the Mustang's view because you get a better view from behind here. So Borgson, Sebastian here is in the Porsche. And the hypercar pretty much comes up. The collision is actually quite minor. The
Yeah,
collision is just there.
yeah.
So the hypercar goes past and then cuts straight across into the pits. So I've got a few a few issues with this.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really it was barely a contact at all. But if we watch it from another car back, if we've got one, I don't know if we have. There's a contact there, goes on the outside. So that contact in itself could have caused a big problem on that fast corner.
Yeah.
So it is going to be a penalty.
Yeah.
I want to get a better view so you can see the differential in speed, but I don't know whether we've got another car that can see it. We'll
And
try it.
if you know you're going in the pit, you're not going to lose much to just stay on the inside
No.
and get ready for the pit line. When there's
Y-
traffic about, you can't do what he just did.
Yeah, I mean, it was so close to ending really badly.
Yeah.
The best view is from the Mustang, I think, at full speed because you get
Yeah.
an idea of how dangerous it was. Yeah. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, but only because you didn't. I'm not going to do more than a basic avoidable collision penalty. But I do think it was erring on the side of unsafe. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a penalty for Frederico. 10 seconds plus 1 license point. So the next incident was reported by Sebastian again. I think it was on Adam Kasplar in the hypercar. So we'll look at it from Adam's point of view. We go back a little bit further actually. So Adam's on the outside here. Just not quite enough room. Unfortunately they both span from that.
Yeah.
So I've not driven the hypercars really, but I'm assuming there's nothing stopping the hypercar from keeping a
Going
wider line
wider.
here.
Yeah. Yeah. The hypercars can stay wide there and still keep their
Yeah,
foot in it.
I think he's squeezed Sebastian here.
Yeah.
That's my initial thought.
Yeah.
And they've both suffered because they both span.
Yeah.
Probably for the sake of keeping a wider line. I don't have a better view of it from a car behind this one, unfortunately. So there's nothing nearby. We'll look at it from Sebastian's point of view. I mean, he's turning tight. There's not a lot
Yeah.
he can
He
do.
couldn't.
He can't
He
go
couldn't do
anywhere
anything
else,
else.
can he?
No.
Yeah, okay, so that's going to be a penalty for Adam, which will be 10 seconds for an avoidable collision, plus 1 penalty point. Sorry, license point. Right, let's pause. Right, so the final reported incident, directly reported, was Sebastian is
40, Mr. 40.
and Jordan 40, and I think this might be after the race finished. So, who are we on board with at the moment? Sebastian's, let's have a look. There's Jordan.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, we've crossed the line, everyone's like relaxed, but there is a point to be made here, I think. So we've had people in the past where, for whatever reason, whether they think it's funny or they've had an accident, but causing a collision after you've passed the line, you've still got to maintain respect for other cars, because the amount of force feedback a lot of wheelbases have these days can cause sort of major problems if you're not expecting your wheel to suddenly go 90 degrees at full
yeah,
tilt. And I do know some sim racers have injured themselves quite badly with this, so
yeah.
we do frown upon collisions after the. I mean, it's fairly innocuous, this one.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
the BM probably just didn't see him, I would guess.
yeah, it could have been a lot worse, um,
Yeah,
depending on how much either of them were concentrating at the time. But I mean,
yeah,
for me, that's probably warrants a warning, and it's
yeah,
also a warning to other drivers that
yeah,
you need to be concentrating after you've gone across the line. I mean, there's
yeah,
plenty of space to try and pull over somewhere safe.
yeah,
Um, try and hold your line. There's no reason
yeah,
for the BMW unless they let go of the wheel. Maybe, who knows?
yeah,
Yeah, just keep an eye on your mirrors and bear in mind that there's cars behind that might have been racing really hard across the line. And they might be going faster than you. So I'm going to give you a warning for that. And just to be clear, how warnings work in this season, the first warning is just a warning, and every second warning will result in one license point on your um, license
license.
points on your license,
Yeah,
and the license points build up, as I say. So if you get, I think, well, you can refer to the rules, but as they build up, they can result in qualifying bans or race bans or worse. Right, so we've got a couple of other things we want to mention at the end, so we'll move on to them now. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to mention, because I did see this particular incident, and I just want to highlight it because it's the sort of thing we don't want happening. So Dan here spins on the outside because he gets his back wheel on here, which is fine, everything's gone right, but brakes have been applied. So you now got to do the rejoin. But the rejoin here is really dangerous because you literally just go straight across the track without any control.
yeah,
You really, I think you've just gone too hot there. You need to be turning right and going up here at this point.
yeah. Needs to be doing it slower.
Yeah, because there could have been a car, well there is a car coming across here, but yeah, that's not an acceptable rejoin in my opinion.
No,
No, so I'm going to give you a warning for that. Right, is there anything else we need to look at?
joke.
Okay, so I think that's it for this week. There's a lot going on. We do have a collision detection spreadsheet we've got now, so it does make it a bit easier on the first lap. But generally, I mean, what I would say is that the hypercars do need to be respectful of GT3 cars when they're passing them.
Yeah,
Um,
there was one thing we were asked to have a look at Mr. Wilson on how he was passing the GT3s, and there was one moment I know of when he tried to pass me into turn three. He tried to overtake me on the outside by going off track, and then flashed at me. He almost took us both out. So, Mr. Wilson, you do need to be careful. What I said at the um, last week before the race about the hypercars. The GT3s have the right to stay on the racing line. Forcing them off the racing line like you almost did with me is going to cause accidents. So please be careful.
Yep, it's definitely. I mean, the GT3 has the line, should stay on the racing line in most cases. It
Yeah,
is up to the hypercar to go around them and be patient and
yeah, it's right
respectful.
here. It's right here. He went off the track to try and overtake me and then flashed at me. It's like, you nearly caused an accident. Need to be careful.
Okay, all right, that's it then for this week.
Yeah,
We'll
thank
see
you.
you next week. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.